Hi and happy days everyone, Andy Martin here again from Fletcher's. Our problem today that we're going to sort out is got to do with our lock here on our external door. A few problems to have a look at. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so looking at our door set here, the first thing I notice is this strike plate has been over recessed into the door frame, so that's something we will fix up by packing out the top of this strike plate. The bottom of the strike plate looks pretty good. That's just allowing too much gap there. A lot of our latch is not set into or recessing into our strike plate, so that's something we'll have to sort out. The second thing I've noticed is the dog pushing from outside the door can often pop the door, and I've realised the reason for this is one of the reasons for this is the actual deadlock striker pin has been painted over at some stage in the past, and that's actually not moving independently of the latch itself. So that's a problem because it means we can't really effectively lock the door. If I can think I've locked the door, so I can turn it to lock and my handles are locked, but if this pin isn't sitting on the strike plate and stopping this latch moving, I can defeat the door from the outside. So I'll just show you how that can be done now. Okay, we're outside the door now, and you can see I've pulled it closed with it supposedly locked behind me. But because that latch can move, it means the old credit card trick can be employed, because that latch will actually move rather than being deadlocked in place. So that's a real problem for security. This one's actually got a door strip on it, so it might be a little bit tricky to defeat, but I'm pretty sure that a bit of flexible plastic, there it is, plastic inserted in the door will actually move that latch and pop the door. So I'm not really effectively locking my door. So that's something I'm going to have to fix. I'm going to have to pull apart the door set and see if I can actually free up that plunger pin, that deadlock plunger pin. If I can't do that, then I'll have to replace the door set. So a couple of problems there to resolve. The striker plate itself positioning's okay, but we can't lock the door and it's been recessed too far into the door frame. So those are two things that we'll have a go at fixing now. So just pulling out these door screws and taking off this striker plate to have a look at it. And the plate itself doesn't seem to be in too bad a condition. Might just square this off a little bit, but not too bad. And I just want to work out a way to pack that out a little bit to flush with the door frame here. It doesn't hurt when you're pulling apart bits of locks or any other mechanisms with small pieces in it. Just have a tray. In this case, it's just an old paint tray that I use just to put those bits in with a lip on them, so you're not going to lose bits as you go along the way. So what I've got here to pack out the top of this recess for the striker plate is just a bit of plastic or vinyl that I'm going to cut to size, and easy one, this one. So I'm just going to mark it, and I'll cut this off with a pair of scissors, and that should give me a nice little piece of packing here that I can use to push this strike plate out to the correct position. Just going to locate it in behind there. See how that sits. I think that's going to work pretty well. Just relocating the screws now. And this, push that back into position. I should be able to do this without any drilling. Just work the screw through the material there, hopefully. And that should sit, then locate itself. Okay. Okay, so that's problem one nicely resolved, sitting nice and flush with the timber now, with the face of the frame. So, okay, number one problem resolved. All right, so this is the pretty standard tubular door set, tubular lock door set, so it shouldn't be too hard to disassemble, nothing to be scared of here. Just going to take out these screws here. Okay, out they come. Remove the body of the lock set, and we need to remove the face plate. If we put screws in there, now we may have to cut around, so I'm a bit careful here. I'm just going to cut a line around the paint here so that when we push this plate out, what we don't do is shred all the paint around it and end up having to repaint our door. Just brace yourself with your hands on the edge of the door while you do this, because love this tool, but it's the most dangerous tool in the kit almost, than almost any other tool. Just want to be really careful. Okay, good luck. We got it to pop. Beautiful, and we haven't ripped off all the face of our paint around it, which is nice. Okay, so let's have a look here. It's definitely really fixed to the latch, this plunger pin, and that's something we've got to fix. Okay, let's have a look at how they should work. So we can see on this door, the pin moves independently of the latch, and that will allow this door set, when it's locked, to stop that latch moving. Now the handles are turned, but this latch is actually locked in place and can't defeat it with a credit card or something else from outside. So that's the way this is supposed to work, and the reason this pin exists is to deadlock this latch in place so it can't be attacked from the outside and broken into easily. So, okay, let's see what we can do to release the pin. What we've done here is I've just put a bit of solvent on this just to see if we can defeat this paint and give it a bit of a clean out with it along this. Going with a knife too, but it's been there for a long time by the looks of it, so it may not be easily removed. See if it will release naturally. If not, we may have to give it a little bit of persuasion, which don't like to do with mechanisms like this, but if we have to, we have to. Be careful about working with these knives and towards yourself as well. I'll just give that a bit of a clean off, and I'll give it a bit of a rub back and clean it up. 800 grit paper here. Clean the faces while I'm at it. So I've given this a really good clean up, removed a lot of the paint off the mechanism. The plunger pin still won't move of its own accord, so we're going to give it a little bit of assistance. I'm going to give it a little bit of a punch and see if we can get it to actually move. We'll put it in a clamp. I'm going to go grab a punch and a small hammer and just see if we can persuade that pin to move. Put my little nail punch on here. I'm going to depress my latch first. Just see if we can't persuade this pin to move, and it's straight away it's released itself, so that's good. It's pressed in. Getting it back out now is going to be the issue for us because it's still got paint and stuff on it. Here we go. So we've got this pin to release. We've still got paint. You can see it's gone in right underneath it, and that's why it's originally fixed itself. And might just give that a clean off here. Try to remove as much of that paint as we can. Grit paper. Give that a real clean off. Okay, so we've cleaned off that pin, and you can see now it's working really well. Much better all round. Okay, so we might just give that a little bit of silicone lubricant. pop a bit of a silicone lubricant into the mechanism. Okay, hopefully we can reassemble this and we'll see a bit of an improvement on what we saw before. Right, reassemble this mechanism here. Okay. Okay, so we've got our door set back together. It seems to be closing really well and holding really well. It's locking. So I'm locking. These back in the mounting plate. Okay, well, that's good. Our pin's working really well. Lock the door behind us. Let's see if we can defeat our lock. No. Beautiful. All right, so we've locked ourselves out, but job's all right. Love my work.